Hey Popley, you should make content.
Hey
You're a
Popley,
funny
that
guy
takes
who
video
definitely
games.
has the
We
humor
can
to
make
make
a
a
video
good
against
YouTube
that
series.
idea you had.
If you're a really
Just gotta
funny
do it.
guy
You made
who's
that
funny
shot.
and is really
See
cool
what
and
goes.
awesome and
See what
epic
goes.
and
Sure,
and
it's
awesome
shot.
and
Throw your
epic
hat in
and
the
cool
ring.
and
It's
cool
a
and
leap
awesome
fake.
and epic.
Go on.
Oh my god, fine. Hey, howdy, hi, I'm Popley. You know me, but I don't know you. This is my first ever video. Sidelining, that one. And as you can probably tell from the intro to this video, it's something I've been egged to do for quite some time. I didn't know if I wanted to make videos initially, but after a while I decided to bite the bullet and give it a whirl. I had all this stuff to make a video, I just had to make a video. So this is that. Although, we need a topic, don't we? I mean, I could just make the video about myself, who I am, my personal struggles, my art, and all that other shoujo stuff. Or no. Instead, I want to indulge and draw characters. So that's what we're going to be doing. Specifically, I will be making designs for the hit creature catching series, Yokai Watch. Yokai Watch, for those who know it, is a very fun series to draw character designs for. It's a lot less strict in its conventions compared to other franchises because of the concept that it roots itself in. You can have yokai that resemble animals, household objects, abstract shapes, people, existing folklore, and Deadpool, all in the same franchise, and it works! One of the things the series started doing after Yokai Watch 2 that exemplified its stylistic conceptual contrast is boss yokai. Okay. More specifically, they started making boss versions of the flagship mascot yokai. Big, beefy, unbenevolent boys that resemble the mascots we love, but in a twisted way. Now, while this series was going, they did a pretty sizable amount of this kind of boss. 16 in total, but excluding recolors, it's more like 11. And while that's more than enough for this boss concept, and I see why they didn't do more, I'm gonna do more. There's more flagship yokai, so there's still material to work with. So without further ado, let's have a look-see! First up is the boss version of Wall Kappa. Wall Kappa I consider to be a flagship yokai, but level 5 kinda dropped him after Yokai Watch 1. He has a very recognizable design, and I think all my yokai watchers out there can agree. Looking at boss yokai variants, they typically have very exaggerated proportions. This makes them look more grotesque in nature. Tattle Terror's big arms, Shogun King's head-to-body ratio, and Captain Thunder's chicken nugget legs are good examples. So when making Wall Kappa's boss, I thought more on figures like the creature from the Black Lagoon and Ripjaws from Ben 10. That kind of lanky, deep-sea creature aesthetic felt right and lended itself to stranger design details, such as his beak having a row of teeth and his Kappa plate being replaced with an eyeball. Wall Kappa feels like a shallow water kind of creature, so in contrast, I wanted this guy to feel like a dweller of the Twilight Zone. A primary trait of Wall Kappa that I wanted to keep is his surfer dude nature. That's kind of like his whole thing. So I wanted to keep the kind of loose vibe in this guy's posing, while also throwing in some sinister undertones. Ooh. If he were to be in a game, I imagine him being a kind of relaxed yet clearly malicious villain. Later on, I was struggling to figure out how to adapt Wall Kappa's red water bottle in the design because it didn't feel right to just give this dude a bottle. It needed to be exaggerated. Ruby's J has a belt of dynamite in replacement of just a belt. So I went to my pals in a Discord call for some aid, and one of them gave me the bright idea of using a gourd, inspired by Gaara from Naruto, an anime I have never watched. Gourds in Japan are commonly filled with sake, so instead of water, Boss Wall Kappa here has a red gourd filled with blistering hot sake. This is the perfect thing I could have ever done, and I am ever grateful to my pal Kaifun for giving it to me. Thank you, Mr. Foon. Other than that, my recording stopped before I got to the colors, so let's just look at the final product. Quacko King. Quack, quack. A coastal terror that claims beaches in order to expand his ocean-wide kingdom. He carries around a gourd full of blistering hot sake. Some say, if you touch the sake, it'll burn you until you're nothing but a lost soul. Next up is the boss version of Sergeant Burly, who I also consider to be a flagship. He's always thrown into memorable moments in game, and if you played Blasters, we all have some good memories with this beefy man. So why not ruin him? And that's what I achieved today. For one, this dude had a nightmare blunt rotation of references. Yujiro from an anime I've never watched, M. Bison, the Hulk, Broly, also from an anime I've never watched, Marvel Rivals, Punisher design, Guile from Street Fighter, probably a few other things I'm forgetting in the script. Do not have what they're having, you will be sorry. The reason I had all these guys was because I was going to exaggerate all of Burly's muscles into being huge, you know, small head, big body kind of build. I'm also not crazy great with muscles, so all these guys were used as references, and really all these Yokai Watch boss designs I'm doing in this video were really good practice when it came to figuring out, like, anatomy. Well, not anatomy. Muscles. I'm going really off script talking about this. I'm probably going to keep this, I'm not going to lie. I'm not keeping that. One thing I wanted to make sure was done for all of these designs was that they weren't just one-to-one with their original counterparts. For example, Boss Burly here does retain Burly's orange skin and green clothing, but I made his clothing more open as it cannot contain his strength. I also made them more detailed. It's not really a tank top anymore, it's more like a military uniform. And when I get to coloring, I overlay another shade of orange on top of a few parts of his body. You could view it as an example of his power, as his muscles are always flexed and tensing. I view it as a way to differentiate the palette. I also wanted to make Boss Burly feel more like he could fit in line with the Oni brothers of Gargaros, Ogreless, and Orkanos. Sergeant Burly is an Oni signified by his iconic horn and loincloth, so I thought it'd be a cool nod to make him match the others' freak. I am gonna be honest, I didn't actually have much to say on Boss Burly, so without further ado, let's Gara poke our heads into the finished design. Major Beefcake! A ruthless military leader who seeks to conquer all of the planet using his giant muscles and powerful demeanor. He is the one who trained nearly every other big boss and is responsible for their massive physiques. Soon, he plans to bring them all back together for total world domination. He calls this dream team the Big Blasters. Interjection! I have a GoFundMe. Please go support it. It's for college. I really want to go back. I also have a Ko-Fi, but it's all like adopts and stuff, so it's more first come, first serve. I also do commissions. You can DM me on Instagram and Twitter if you want one. All this stuff is linked below, by the way, in the YouTube description thing. I will be eternally grateful if you decide to even look at any of this, or like share it, or whatever, or subscribe. But I would appreciate it if you invested money into my journey. Okay, back to the video. Next up is a boss version of Hovernyan. Alright, we're gonna have a more artistic talk here. When it came to making really all of these, I had to kind of balance out how cartoony I wanted to make the design. We'll talk specifically about this one, but this applies to really all of them. The boss yokai are easily the most detailed yokai in the mainline series, which really adds to their theming as unfamiliar yet powerful creatures. But there is a pretty good line between, this isn't a boss, it's too silly looking, and this is a hyper-realistic depiction of a persona. I had to teeter on this line when making all of these because think about if this was a game. You can't scare the kiddos in your funny locally translated Yu-Gi-Oh! Digimon game. Boss Hovernyan here was actually a little difficult to get right in the style of Yokai Watch because I had a way more detailed version in my head, and I was trying to simplify it without killing what made it cool in my brain. I think I succeeded though, and you'll see what I see here in a sec. One of the harder parts of this was his face because I had to keep going back and forth between Boss Hovernyan and Rubius J. Since this boss design is a derivative of Rubius J, which is a derivative of Jibanyan, I had to derive this boss's whole design from a derivative of a base yokai. Said base yokai also has a separate yokai derivative of its design, which is the direct basis for this boss yokai, which thus means I have to derive it from that derivative as well. Thus making this boss yokai a derivative design of a derivative design and a derivative design of a derivative design that are all derived from a single Doraemon derivative. God damn it! That was really difficult to say, so as a detox, we'll look at his inspirations. I took inspo from characters like Conquest from Invincible and Ultraman from DC, powerful dudes with imposing demeanors. I gave him a side cape because those are awesome and cool, but it also goes down into a full cape. And last thing before we move on is a mistake. Hovernyan does not have tails. Boss Hovernyan does have tails. This was not intentional, I just automatically assumed that this cat that is a cat would have cat tails, especially since all the other cats that all look exactly like him have 2 cat tails. In any case, the big cat is done.
Hurrah! Hang tail!
A former soldier in Hardy Hound's army and the predecessor to Rubius J. Hangtail was a blight on the yokai world and eventually sought out to claim his first ever human life. He was fortunately stopped by the legendary yokai and bound to the skies as punishment, forever unable to reach his goal despite proverbially reaching the stars. Before I get to talking about this design, just gotta say, I had no idea Komajiro had his own different theme from Koma-san. This theme is so relaxing it makes me want to cry. Anyways, back to the art. This is the Komajiro boss. Now, as we all know, hit flagship yokai Koma-san has his very own genuine boss variant by the name of Hardy Hound. You've probably seen him at least once during the edit. Komajiro, on the other hand, does not have one. Why? I couldn't tell you. Komajiro is seen as a flagship yokai, evidenced by the amount of attention he gets in comparison to other yokai, so why they chose not to give him a boss, we'll never know. If I had to guess though, if he did get one, it probably wouldn't have been the most inspired design. Yokai Watch is known for its immense recolor problem that even bleeds into the bosses, so if Boss Komajiro was to ever be real, it'd probably just be Hardy Hound with brown. Good news for us though, my guy is not that! I wanted to go for a drastically different build from old Double H. The boss Komajiro I have is way skinnier in proportion, but is still scarily defined in certain places. I wanted to go for a kind of old yet capable master character, as contextually this guy serves as Hardy Hound's right-hand man and older brother. I'll be honest, this one is probably my favorite of the video. I've been making yokai art for a while now, but it was using a lot of my techniques for making Fakeamon and Pokemon art. I used a really clean yet untextured brush, I used very clear lighting and defined shapes, etc, etc. But ever since I got my hands on this brush I've had ever since I downloaded this program but never even bothered to look at, my life has changed. And this guy is a good example of how it has. I remember the shapes of this guy being really fun to draw. I'm writing the script like a month after completing all these, so forgive me if I'm becoming less and less detailed with my explanation as time goes. But yeah, the shapes in this guy were fun. I made certain parts of him really big, like the tufts on his shoulders and his knapsack, alongside his hands and feet. So when you break it all down, he's very sharp. I'm not going to put in the unnecessary effort to visually break down his shapes, but as a guy who's pretty proficient in shape language, this guy is mostly squares, rectangles, and triangles, and it satisfies my brain in a way I can't explain. So, I won't. This is the last design of the video, and I have nothing else to mention. So, without further ado...
Master Mongrel! Oh my swirls!
Hardy Hound's wiser older brother. He is significantly older than his brother and thus cannot engage in havoc across the land, much like he did in his youth. Instead, he feeds commands to his brother and their army, typically sitting as a witness on the side. Nobody knows what else he does in his free time, but some soldiers say they can hear dubstep coming from his quarters at night. Whoa! You reached the end of my first video! You did it! I did it. I made the video. This was mostly for fun. Just trying to test the waters of content creation, I guess. But mainly, for one, I hope you enjoyed the video. It was a lot of fun for me to make and indulge in. But also, I would also appreciate it if you checked out all the social media links down below in the description. My Instagram, my Twitter, my Ko-Fi, and my GoFundMe page. And if you want to support me, you can commission me on either Instagram or Twitter, and I will respond. You just gotta DM me, or you can buy something on my Ko-Fi, which I think also has a commission method, or you can support my GoFundMe. Really, any of these works. Really, you engaging with it is all I could really ask for, but if you want to do something more, do what you want. I don't really know how many people are gonna see this. I'm just kind of talking as if this is gonna blow up. Being hopeful, right? But given the fact that this is like a Yokai Watch video of all things, and a first video, I don't know how crazy this is gonna go, but we'll see. If you do see this, thanks for sticking around. I don't have anything else to say. I already said it all. So I'll see you fellas around. Woohoo!